Real firefighters in real firehouses, cooking real food. Anything can happen when you step out of the kitchen and into the fire. You're watching Feeding the Fire.
Take Route 66 to the Wild Wild West, and you're in Flagstaff, Arizona. This place looks like a page out of the history books, with log cabins nestled in the pines and horseback still the preferred mode of transportation for some.
It may look like the Wild West, Jim, but with residential areas expanding into the relatively untouched wildland, local firefighters had to come up with some unique and high-tech ways of managing wildfires involving an ever-increasing number of homes and businesses.
Yeah, I heard these were some pretty tough firefighters here, and we were lucky enough to be invited to Summit Fire's Wildland Division to sample some down-home southwestern cuisine.
Did you know, Jim, the Summit Fire Department has responded to some of the most devastating wildfires in the country and had to develop some unique techniques. These guys actually fight fire with fire.
Well, speaking of wildfires, Tim, I'm gonna go find a cook that knows a little something about hot and spicy cooking.
And I'm gonna see how these guys put out the really big fires right here on Feeding the Fire.
Today's cook is Ron Martinez. How you doing, Ron?
Good, how you doing?
Good. Looks like you got a giant slab of bacon there.
It's basically is bacon, it's salt pork.
What are we having today?
We're actually having a Mexican-style lunch. We're going to have enchiladas, beans, and rice, which is basically standard fare a lot of times.
Kind of southwestern flavor because we're in the southwest.
Absolutely. What I'm doing is getting the salt pork ready. I'm going to cook some pinto beans, the type of beans that you'll see when you go into a Mexican food restaurant.
The painted bean. Where did you learn to cook this?
These are all grandma's recipes.
Oh, so it's tradition.
Handed down from grandma to my mom, and then basically I picked it up and I do it now. Basically what I do is I get the bag of pinto beans. They come raw picked, so I need to go through them. I've actually cleaned them out already.
You soak them overnight?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I'm using a pressure cooker, and this will have them cooked probably about an hour and a half or so.
If you weren't using the pressure cooker, how long would it take?
It'd probably take all night. So what I do is just throw those in on top of the beans, and I'm going to add water to this. And I'm going to go ahead and put the lid on top of it and let them cook down for a while. Okay, so now we're going to get the chili sauce ready to go.
I don't see any tomatoes here.
We don't put tomato sauce in our chili authentically. It's
really?
Basically,
I didn't know
it's going
that.
to be a kind of a meat sauce. So what I'm using is lean ground meat. I want to be conscious about how much fat we're taking in.
Yeah, I noticed the fire service now is getting a little health conscious.
Yeah, well,
lately.
we go out and we treat everybody that's had all the problems with heart attacks and that kind of thing. And we're finding that what we need to do is watch ourselves as well. We're not the best followers of what we preach.
Believe me, I know what you mean.
This is a pretty rural area, but it is becoming more and more built up. There's a lot of private property interspersed with Forest Service land, and so the community would be greatly impacted by any kind of a forest fire that would occur in this area. It's not as simple as a straightforward forest fire anymore. We need to be cross-trained in both wildland firefighting and structure firefighting in order to deal with it.
Back east, we'll have a structure fire in a house, say it'll be an hour or two.
Mm-hmm.
If you get a big forest fire, how long are you guys out on that?
Days and days. There's actually a limit,
Really?
a limit of 14 days now. We have to be prepared to leave within an hour of getting a call and work for 14 days, which doesn't include travel time.
How do you eat on the wildland when you're out fighting a wildfire?
Well, we have MREs, the old meals ready to eat that are packaged up. We bring a couple cases of those on every wildland engine. Hopefully you don't have to resort to that. Sometimes on the bigger fires, after the command system gets established, they have a caterer that comes in, and they have a few trailers, a refrigerated trailer and a freezer trailer and that kind of thing, and they cook up hot meals for us.
And what I'll do is add a little bit of oil to this. I start everything out on a high heat to get the pots nice and warm. And then what I'll do after that is bring it down so it'll simmer. Now that's getting about where I want it. And actually at this point what I'm going to do, I'm going to reach over here and grab this garlic powder. Then what I'm just going to do is just kind of cook the top a bit. I use a lot of garlic on this.
You know, if you eat too much garlic and your breath stinks, you can eat some fresh parsley and it should clear your breath.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
That's a feeding the fire fact that you just learned today. Now that the beef is browned, it's time to soak some chilies for our sauce.
So a few seeds are okay. We do want it to be somewhat hot. I just take the stems off because those aren't very edible. When you buy a package of chili at the store, you never really know what you're going to get. They are labeled hot and mild, and I usually go for the hot ones. And it depends on the year that they were made or that they grew. Depends on how hot they're going to be. Usually on a wet year, you'll get decent hot chilies, and if it's a real dry year, you won't get as hot.
Just gonna let these soak for 10 minutes?
Throw these in here. I'm going to push them down a little bit. And what's going to happen is these are just going to soak up water. And you notice they look like they're dehydrated. They are. And they're just going to plump up.
Well, it'll take a couple minutes to get these chilies to soak up all the water. We'll send you outside to Timmy. You can see the rest of the firehouse. And we can see this beautiful mountain view outside your kitchen window.
Today.
I notice you have some really unique pieces of apparatus here.
It's our first out apparatus, our four-wheel drive.
Why is that?
Well, the reason that we did that was when we spec'd them out, a lot of the roads out here are private roads, and they get worn out pretty quick, and they're kind of impassable. So when we spec'd these trucks out, we wanted something that was going to be able to get anywhere we needed them to be.
Is that the only unique feature on that?
Not the only unique feature. The other unique feature about all our first out apparatus is what we have. Our fire pumps are called CAFs, compressed air foam systems. And what it is, instead of flowing just water, we flow both water, foam solution, and air. And what that does is it's more effective in firefighting than in just straight water. It helps penetrate into surfaces better, it helps cover the fire better, and it's a much more effective firefighting tool than just straight water.
Oh, so it kind of takes away the fuel for the fire.
Exactly, it takes away the fuel and it smothers it, and the next best thing about it is it makes the lines that we pull a lot lighter. Where you're using a lot less water, that's another great aspect of it. If we have a, let's say a structure fire on the second floor, and I've been on one and it's a great example, you go on the second floor and you got a room and contents fire, and you knock it down with the compressed air foam, you get absolutely no water damage below. If you were to fight that same fire with strictly water, you definitely get water damage below, you get water damage throughout the house. And use double the water.
It's just hard to find in the desert, right?
Well, how to find the desert, and especially being out in a rural community like this, we have limited fire hydrants. So we want to be able to use the 500 gallons that we do carry in our trucks in the most effective way that we can.
Welcome back to the kitchen. Ron says the peppers are done. Let's start on that sauce.
They still look like peppers. They're a lot plumper than they were. And what I'll do is, since these things actually just soaked in here, and some of the flavor is actually in the water, is I'll use this water when I add some more water. And this is actually going to form a paste.
Once the chilies have been blended into a paste, they're added to the ground beef. Then Ron pulls out his secret ingredient, a couple cans of beef broth instead of water to enhance the flavor of the chili sauce. Wow, the smell from the peppers are really strong.
Oh yeah.
To thicken the chili sauce, we lightly brown some flour in canola oil until it congeals into a nice paste. But take care not to burn it. We just want to brown it.
It's been a while. See how that's starting to turn colors on?
Oh yeah, and it's thickening up too. Ron, you know, this is a real treat for me, learning a traditional Mexican meal. I love Mexican food, and to see it the way you're cooking it, I'm picking up all great ideas to cook this meal.
And remember, if it comes out the same twice in a row, you didn't do it right. It's got to be different every time. You want to stir it up, just nice and gentle. Go ahead and reduce the heat a little bit. We don't want this simmering too hard. I found that for some reason, when it simmers too hard, that something happens to the flavor. I'm not sure what it is, but it's got to simmer real slow.
Ron, that's smelling great. That'll definitely feed some hungry heroes this afternoon.
We do miss home-cooked food when we're out on long wildland assignments. We do have to have brown bag lunches every day, and sometimes you get some hot-cooked meals which are actually pretty good. If it's a large incident, they'll bring a caterer in with a trailer and that kind of thing. So we do get some good food on the fire assignments every once in a while, but eating the MREs, which is what we have to do on the first few days of the assignment, I could do without that. Some red enchiladas would be a lot better.
Take a whiff of that chili, Tim. What do you think?
Ooh, caliente.
Caliente. Gonna be hot. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and fry up these corn tortillas in a little bit of canola oil. I just kind of look and see how the tortillas are doing in there, kind of giving them a bath in there. If they're happy,
Happy
then
bad.
we leave the temperature where
Or
it's at.
bad,
If they're
like
getting
a
really
baby in
angry,
a hot tub.
if they're getting really angry, we lower the heat, and if they're just not doing anything, we'll actually turn the heat up.
So like you said, you don't want this taco crunchy like a taco shell.
Exactly. But you have to fry them before you make the enchiladas, because what it does is it actually changes the consistency a little bit, so you get a nice roll on them.
I'll have to try rolling one of them tortillas.
Well, I'm going to give you plenty of time to roll tortillas.
Oh, thanks. Put me to work.
When we get started, I want to need some
I
help.
thought you invited me here to eat. Come on.
You're going to eat as well.
I gotta work for my meal. Ron makes his Spanish rice from scratch, which means first browning about a cup of rice in canola oil.
Okay, the trick on the rice is to not put too much oil and not to put too little oil. So what I'm going to do is actually start stirring this up. And as long as the rice gets evenly coated with oil, we're good to go. I'm going to brown this, get a nice, good golden brown. Saute a few onions in there when that's going on. Maybe add a little bit of garlic powder. Give it that roasted garlic flavor.
What is it with you and garlic? You
I
love that
love
stuff.
garlic. Garlic's good for the soul. Now once this stuff starts to brown up, you have to pay real close attention to it because it'll burn just like that. That's why I cut my onions beforehand. And I've got those ready to go.
Good idea.
This is where it gets kind of tricky. I've got to watch my heat now.
Yeah, it's browning up a little.
Now one thing that I've done when I teach people how to cook, when I do teach them how to cook, if I ever do,
You're teaching us right now.
are the concepts of, that I believe are important, and I think this is something that you learn in the culinary arts.
Culinary. It's culinary.
Okay, I was just trying to mimic somebody I know.
Yeah, I think I know that guy too. You saw the last episode.
That's right, I did. Where were we? That was too much fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
we were in
okay.
Salt Lake.
The
Oh.
concepts of cooking
Go.
are time and temperature. And obviously your senses. That's basically what it is. You start smelling that.
It becomes more robust.
If you want something to cook real fast, obviously the temperature is going to go up, your time's going to go down, and you really have to keep a keen eye on it.
Oh yeah.
If you want things to take a little bit longer, lower the temperature, take a little bit longer time.
Oh, that's browning up
So,
now.
yeah, it's not, you'll see what it does. It's not there yet.
Well, you got the onions right here, so when you're ready.
We're just about, and the nice thing about the onions is when I do put the onions in here, and it's just going to be a small amount of that, it takes some of the heat away from it, so it stops cooking as quickly. Okay, now we're right at that magical spot. What I want to do is get these sauteed up a little bit, just get them a little bit soft. At this point, I like to just add a little bit of garlic powder.
One thing for sure, you're not a vampire.
Not at all. I'll saute that up a little bit, and then almost immediately go for my tomato sauce. This is the tricky part, it's knowing when to do this. So what we're doing now is taking the heat out of the frying process. I need to get some more of it. One of the biggest challenges is knowing how much water to put in this rice to make it come up just right. And you notice I'm not measuring it, I'm just using
No, you're just dumping cans of water in.
cans of water. So for this particular one, usually they say just about the same level of the rice itself. Okay, now that we've got the rice in the pot, we're going to go ahead and bring that to a boil. As soon as it boils, we're going to simmer it for a little while, let it boil down. And after this, we're going to go ahead and start rolling the enchiladas. And we're about 20 minutes away from mealtime.
Okay, we'll be right back. Fighting fire with fire. I understand you guys do that a lot. How do you fight a fire with fire?
It's actually a really good technique. You have to be careful with it because it can get dangerous at times. But if it's a well-planned backfire, it can really help to control your fire. You create a small fire line ahead of the fire, and then you light off of that line, and it gets sucked into the bigger fire, and it creates a wider barrier at the edge of the fire. So if there's somewhere in particular that you don't want the fire to reach. I was on the Nettle Complex in Safford, Arizona last year, and there's the largest binocular telescope in the world is at the top of the mountain there, and we lit a backfire behind that to keep the main fire away from that because it's such a high value property. We were assigned up there for about a week and a half, and we did manage to keep the fire away from all the telescopes.
Ron shows me how his grandmother taught him how to roll the enchiladas. By dipping the lightly fried tortillas in chili sauce, make sure you coat them nice and thick. And then you add a little onion and some grated cheese. We're using cheddar, but you could feel free to use your favorites like Jack or Pepper Jack. And then you just roll. It looks easy, and it'll give us a little time to chat.
So we had a pretty big family at the time. So whenever we cooked, it was always a meal for for a lot of people.
So you got used to cooking for a lot of people too.
Absolutely.
I got used to it too because my parents would make each one of the siblings take a night out of the week and cook. So basically that's how I learned to cook. Sometimes they didn't like the hot dogs I would make. Wrapped in bacon and cheese. Traditionally, when would you eat enchiladas like this?
Anytime is enchilada time. Supper time, probably the best, but we can eat them for lunch, and actually we can actually use them for breakfast as well. The leftovers will wind up going home, going in the refrigerator, and the next morning you can come out and make nice scrambled eggs or just regular eggs with them and have them for breakfast as well.
Yeah, this looks like I could eat this all day long. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's why I don't make them very often.
This is a lot of work. Man, this tortilla rolling business isn't all it's cracked up to be. Let me tell you, I'd rather be in a burning building right now than rolling these tortillas.
This is the casserole method. If you notice, these are just straight out of the bag.
Yes.
There's no oil. You don't have to roll these. And basically what I do is I just chunk them up. What I'm going to do is just throw these in there until they start taking up some of the juices.
Kind of like the looks of this method better than to roll it.
And now what we're going to do is mix some onions in there. I'm feeling kind of saucy today. I usually don't put this much in there, but guess what? They're firemen.
Yeah, they're firemen. This ain't too hard.
This is the easy method.
For like a party, this might be good. This would be great for a Super Bowl party or something.
Oh, yeah.
This is.
And then we'll just fill those up to not quite to the top, just a little bit below the lid in case they start to leak when you cook them.
It's kind of like Mexican lasagna.
Exactly. Okay, it doesn't have to be real neat. Just toss it in there. Actually, if it's not real smooth like that, it's actually got a better consistency. Just like that. Okay, and just real lightly, because we're going to make another dish. We still have plenty of ingredients for another casserole. Just real lightly sprinkle the top. Just for appearance sake.
Ron, I know the one benefit to all this hard work is I get to eat these delicious enchiladas.
We will all be eating plenty of enchiladas.
Ron, what do you think of my technique here?
Your technique is fabulous. I think
All right.
I think we're going to hire you. The question is, did you bring the ice cream?
No.
This is your first time making enchiladas, is it not?
Yes.
First time tradition at Summit Fire for doing anything is ice cream.
I'll work my magic. So you just drizzle them with the sauce.
Drizzle some sauce on them so they're not so dry, and then I just lightly put some cheese on top for appearance. We've got plenty of cheese on the inside. And if you put too much cheese, it'll actually dry out and make them tough. Okay, you get the oven for me? We'll throw the second set in there.
Who's the best cook at this firehouse? I would say probably Ron. You've seen him cook today for Southwestern meals. His green chili is also pretty good too. Nice on the cold winter days. When it's snowing outside, big pot of green chili and some tortillas and keeps the body warm.
After 30 minutes in a 350-degree oven, our enchiladas are ready to come out. Wow, Ron, this looks amazing. Look at that. That looks fantastic.
I hope it tastes as good as it looks.
Well, shall we call the guys in to see if they want to eat?
Absolutely.
Okay.
All stations, be advised. Chow is on. Chow is on.
Ron, let's see if our hard work paid off. Let's see how hot it is. Oh yeah, this is a fabulous dish, Ron. I want to thank you for sharing yours and your grandma's recipe with us. You can find this recipe on our website. Ron, thanks for inviting us to the Summit Firehouse here in Flagstaff, Arizona. And you mentioned that ice cream I had to bring? Don't worry about it. It's on its way.
Good to hear.
See you next week.
This stuff looks good.
No.
I don't think so.
The expensive stuff, the good stuff.
Yeah, right there.
This?
Yeah.
That's not going to be enough.
There's 12 of us.
Let's go. They're waiting.
Hey, wait a minute. This stuff's heavy.